Welcome to another update on this beautiful Sunday, and we're going to discuss my top 5 blue chips. I said 5 blue chips that I'm looking at right now as the market is correcting. And are we done with that correction? I'm not sure. We might be correcting a little bit more further down the line. However, there's 5 blue chips that I'm looking at that didn't move too much yet and still have a big perspective in front of it. So I'm looking at 5 coins and I'll be discussing them all in this update. But before that, do not forget to subscribe beneath, like the YouTube update, and also do not forget to check out my Instagram and Twitter, where I'm also producing daily content, helping you further in the cryptocurrency markets. So when we're looking at those 5 blue chips that I'm looking at, then the first one that pops up in my mind is Polkadot. Right now we do see strength from several ecosystems. Cardano is doing great, Solana is doing great, Avalanche is doing wonderful, but some others are not doing too much yet, and one of them is Polkadot. And when we look at the USDT structure, and all of those recommendations are based on the charts and not fundamentally. Like fundamentally, I'm not the strongest fundamental channel here. I'm more technical, so we're looking at that in the first perspective here. But first one is Polkadot, and we're looking at the USDT price, which is clearly rejecting resistance here and consolidating. So we might be getting a chance where we are having some correction before we continue to blast. All we know is that once it breaks 29 bucks, it's going to run very heavy here. When we're looking at the USDT chart, this resistance at 29 is very comparable to, for instance, Solana, that also cracked this level and started to overshoot, just like Luna did as well. Levels that I'm looking at with DOT to accumulate on are those two that we have here. So the level around 21 bucks is one that I'm looking at. The level around 80 bucks is the second level that I'm looking at. And you might already scoop a little bit Polkadot at the range that we have right now, as it corrected about 20%. When we're looking at the Bitcoin pair of DOT, however, we can see that we've had a very harsh correction in May, corrected all the way back down towards the previous pre-pump levels, and now we're assuming that we're getting into heavy support. And most of those charts that we're going to see in this update show a very important structure or conclusion. The Bitcoin pairs are not doing too much of them yet. So DOT here is just approaching a heavy support zone that I might be getting heavily interested in before we start to accelerate with the price structure here. So this one is looking at support around the 4600 sats zone. After that we could accelerate towards 7500 sats. The second one almost has an identical structure. Actually, it has never been breaking out of the accumulation range here, which is Cosmos Atom. Beautiful project, great for the ecosystem, integrating the interoperability. So breaking out of this structure would mean that the first real impulse move is going to happen outside of this entire block. Meaning that there is still a big opportunity right now based on a Bitcoin pair in projects like Atom. And this ecosystem is just not moving yet, while others have been moving. So when we're looking at Atom at this point, you clearly see that we are making higher lows. So what is the level that I'll be looking at for a potential play on this one? It is probably this range. That is the first zone that I'll be looking at. This entire block is where I'll be looking at for a potential play at this point. Second level that I'll be looking at is this range low, around 3k. These two ranges are what I would be liking to get a beautiful point of interest or entry point on Atom at this point. Given the fact that we are squeezing up for 2+ years already, meaning that once it cracks the resistance, a big impulse wave is going to happen. And once again, the conclusion can be drawn that the Bitcoin pairs are not doing too much yet, meaning that we most likely get a big season still yet to come, given that those have not been breaking out of their accumulation periods yet. When we're looking at the USDT pair, clearly we have a few levels to watch. First one is a retest here around 16 bucks. That would be great if we can hold that. Second, if that doesn't grant any support, I'm going to look around 12 bucks. But given the harsh correction that we just had, Most likely we'll be getting something like this before we start to continue moving further up. Usually we'll see a retest and then the new impulse move starts to happen. But definitely one to keep an eye out on. The third one is just barely breaking out, but has the exact same view as Cosmos. The entire year it has been accumulating here, meaning that right now it's slightly breaking out. It's Tezos, or Tezos, whatever you want to call it. And it's not breaking the entire accumulation structure yet, meaning that at this point we make higher lows and a higher high. We broke this entire structure, so we could be seeing continuation on Tezos happening here. What is the level that I'll be looking at for the third one? That is the level that we have around 8k sets. So this entire block that we have here, that is where I'd be looking at if you want to scoop a position in Tezos. Once it cracks this entire resistance, then we can see expansion to the upside. So then we most likely are going to see a run towards even around 19,000 sats. And at this point, I think that's quite likely to be happening if the strength of the market is going to continue. And I'm convinced that we're currently seeing the super cycle starting up, meaning that many of those blue chips that we do have here and many of those projects are still at a point of interest that they do not move too much yet. If you look at the structure, Tezos has been going up 60% in the Bitcoin pair only, meaning that Bitcoin has shown strength this year and the altcoins are still eager to start following through. Tezos is one of them. This is a level that I'd be looking at if you want to scoop a position on this one. The third one is DeFi, and SNX has been doing great, but as you can see, we are getting to the lower ranges of the entire range that we have here, or the lower bounds of that structure. So in history, anything in this range, 1, 2, 3, potentially 4, maybe 5, is giving you a massive opportunity to start a trade. I think that if you want to build a swing trade position for this DeFi project, you want to build it entirely in this zone. Easily, if it breaks below, you can just cut your position and buy back in when we reclaim the support level. But if we do have some sort of sideways structure, this entire range is where you want to be looking at. And easily you can just target ranges that are almost 2x from here in the Bitcoin pair. And you must know, blue chips or bigger projects have less risk involved. So the rewards are also lower than when you're putting all your money into a project that has only a market cap of 3 million. But given the recent price action on SNX and the harsh correction we've had in May, it is granting you a good opportunity to scoop some DeFi projects in there as well. The final one that I wanted to discuss is one that has been seeing a massive 2019 and 2020. Right now the structure is making lower highs and lower lows. However, we are once again approaching support, meaning that we could be getting a new impulse wave happening here on the Oracle section. And the Oracles have not been doing great overall during the year. Dia has not been doing great, Kylin has not been doing great, Link and Bond have both not been doing great, but Chainlink is fundamentally growing further, meaning that the price is not really showing what the actual growth of the project is at this stage. If I'd be interested in Chainlink, this block is where I should be getting interested. If we do lose that block, then we still have another one here, which is this range around 4100 sats that is still untested. Those two ranges are where I would be scooping in a long at this point. You might want to consider cutting your position when we lose 4500 and then take the re-entry or take the play here, which is a little bit more risky. But once it starts to flip, and given the fact that many of those projects are getting into support zones, the chances of a reversal of the market is clearly about to be happening. And given that that is going to be happening, and most likely it's going to happen when Bitcoin is getting bottomed out. So whether we are going to see 44k, whether we are going to see a consolidation here and then a breakout, altcoins will start following through. So in this range, I'll be looking for Chainlink as well. So as a conclusion of the projects that I'm looking at for blue chips, Polkadot, Cosmos, Tezos, Synthetics, Chainlink, those are the projects that I'd be interested in getting in position at this point, given the fact that all of their Bitcoin pairs are currently quite low in their values, meaning that they grant an opportunity. While most of the markets are currently focused on Solana, Avalanche, and all those other platforms, I think some other ecosystems are ready to follow through. So I hope you have enjoyed this update. I'll be back tomorrow with a live stream and another update. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.